What is going on, my beautiful people? So we are going to be recapping this week so far. So started off down about 7 grand. I made like 10 grand on Monday, lost 10 grand Wednesday, lost like 8 grand on Tuesday or Thursday. And today we recovered it all back, guys. So we are currently up almost $5,000 on the month or on the week so far, sitting at $41,000 for the month. So not complaining. This week has been super tough, and I'm gonna show you exactly why we've struggled. Today we took about 3 entries here, right? First one gets stopped out by a tick, goes right to the TP, but we re-entered luckily. Right here, yesterday, same thing, stopped out, TP, stopped out break even, TP. Day before that, stopped out, TP, stopped out, TP. Now, I have weeks like this, and surprisingly, I don't know if it's a coincidence where I get trades stopped out by ticks and just go straight to TP. Happens back to back to back to back. So not super, and again, this was a trade we took Monday, a nice short off supply. Again, I'm not super mad about it because I'm right on the move every single day, and I follow my plan like I'm supposed to. I don't do anything different, right? I do the same thing every day, and sometimes my entries don't work out. I get my entry trigger, I hop in. The market was crazy volatile this week. We had news get canceled, and I know you all are aware. CPI and PPI got canceled. The market was super volatile. Even today, we saw a massive surge in volume, right? But again, right, we caught almost like a pretty from these 21s all the way to these 54s, like a 30-something point move, over a 30-point move today. And yes, we lost like 12 on the first trade. Then we took like 30-something back on the second trade. So super happy about that. But we were down a decent bit with like 9 grand off the first trade. Then we recovered pretty heavily, about $20,000 trade on the second trade. And we took this free live session today we did with the students. Probably aren't going to do any free live sessions anymore, to be honest. Will probably be the last one we did just to kind of say hello to some of y'all, miss some of y'all. But overall, a super challenging week, super difficult week. And we're going to recap everything we did today that allowed us to recover green. Now, what I am not against doing is sizing down next week, man, especially if this volatility continues. I had to size down a day because the risk was so wide as well. But usually if I have a red week, I size down. All right, we took 3 trades today, right? 1 break even, 1 loss, 12 points, and 1 dub, all the way to like 30-something points. But when I have a red week, I size down no matter what. So if y'all been struggling this week, if y'all been losing more than you're supposed to or losing what you're supposed to, and the week is red, size down next week. This is the one thing I have been doing for my career since I've been profitable that has been helping me significantly. I have a red week, I size down. And luckily, I can say this year has been crazy. I have sized down a lot this year. I recently started sizing back up that I have not had a red week any day or any week or any month, right, so far this year. And every single trade we take is live, guys. Every single one of these trades we take is live. Last red week was in December. Remember the election part. But happy to say that we're doing pretty well, and I'm going to want to continue this streak going on into next month. So I'm going to tell you guys at the very end what to wait for, what to plan for, what trades to take next month. So make sure you stay tuned for everything. First off and foremost, let's go ahead and talk about today. So today I had a pretty bullish or pretty bearish bias, right? We sold off aggressively, right? And we sold off into demand off the open and found buyers. So I was looking for shorts, but we bounced off demand with strength, popped up and found buyers. So I had this 15-minute supply I drew out. If you want to take a look at my pre-market plan that I'll post every single day for the students, guys, it has every single trade I would take and plan. And again, I do go live with them and execute live with them. Watch this 15-minute supply at the 710s. If we break above that for longs and 60-40, also watch for longs at 66.60 demand, right? So we bounce off 66.60 demand off the open. No entry triggers off the open, super volatile. We go and we break close aggressively above, right? Let's go and look at that break. We aggressively close above the 15-minute demand we have. Now, volume was crazy on the close. Negative delta, but why was that good for us? Why was I super aggressive on these longs, right? It's because of the massive absorption we had. Look at all this massive absorption we had from these sellers. That was my entry trigger, right? We only didn't have to wait for that many candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So much sell-side absorption. We actually took it first off this first candle here, off of exhaustion, and we'll show you all the entry triggers here in a second. Exhaustion and a buyer stepping up. And then we got stopped out right here. Re-entered, right? The re-entry was just based off all the absorption. We saw this candle close. Negative 3,000 delta on this specific candle, no low, didn't hold underneath these lows. So super aggressive. We'll talk about the entry triggers in a little bit here. But again, it was a break above 15-minute demand, retest with VWAP holding us up for longs, right? We took our last trim all the way at the top of this demand right here, or supply, which was liquidity, and then the market just continues to go up even further without us. I mean, I took some like 30-something points. Not too mad about it. I was in smaller size. I would have held runners even longer, but because my size was a little bit smaller because the risk was wider, I wasn't able to have enough size to hold runners even longer. So going off the tape, right, we took about 3 entries off of this actually. And something I like to do we'll keep it like that. Something I like to do is when I'm playing into a range is I like to go break even. Break even on setups, man, especially when we're chopping is something I really, really like to do. So we took this attempt 3 times. First time we get stopped out down like $9,000. Get in again off the next candle. And the reason I was being so aggressive on this entry, on these entries, is because the massive absorption. We don't really see this much absorption. The volume today was super, super significant. Plus, we closed above my 15-minute level with VWAP holding us down. So VWAP was another great point off this trade. We were above VWAP, holding VWAP, and the VIX was honestly have given us a pretty significant move to the downside, which again is super good confluence for longs. So we took this multiple times, 3 times. We finally got it on the 3rd time. The 3rd trade would have lost. I would have called it there. I do count. Something I have to tell you guys, I'll get this wrong all the time. Break-even plays or break-even trades for me are considered losses. Even trades where you take little partials, and if you're risking more than what you took, it's a loss. So let me just explain it to you this way, right? We look at our multiple. So if you risked on that trade $1,000 and you got out break even, you made $0, you risked $1,000 to make $0. Is that a winning trade, right? Let's say you took partials. Let's say you risked $1,000, but you took $500 off like a partial trim, and then the rest gets stopped at break even. You made $500, but you still risked $1,000. Is that a winning trade? You tell me, right? So I do not look at my break evens and my partials as winning trades. So we got break even on the 2nd try. Same thing off the absorption, right? And off the first entry, guys, I'll show you the exact entry trigger that we were seeing before the market started moving up like crazy. So we had all this chop right here, all this chop, all this absorption, right? But again, we saw absorption from sellers, and I kept seeing buyers slowly fill some offers, right, for entry triggers over and over again. But the main entry trigger here was the absorption. Now, when you're looking at absorption, what do we need, right? We need 3 candles that don't hold new lows with a combined 3,000 negative delta. So we had that right off the rip, man. We had that. Whenever this candle closed, it was there, right? Whenever this candle closed, it was way there. So that was my 2nd entry here. It literally happened again. So what I'm looking for absorption as an entry trigger, I want to see 3 candles fail to hold new lows, right, with a combined 3,000 delta. But the volume was significant today. So I actually looked for a little bit more, but I mean, it had plenty. It had like double what we needed. So those were the entry triggers for today. And again, got stopped out break even. Why did I get stopped out break even on the 2nd trade? I did the same exact thing on the 3rd trade. I was already down $9,000 off the first one. We were starting to form a balanced range. Now, when we're in a balanced range, the most likely thing to happen is for us to stay in the balanced range. So the way you have to play balanced ranges is, especially if you're consolidating in a zone looking for a breakout or even a bounce, right, is you want to get in near the bottom and go break even or take profits at the top. So that's what I did for the next 2 setups, right? We come in, get an entry, hit the top, work the new high, I'm break even, stopped at break even, see the absorption close on this candle right here, hop in again, hits the high, we get on break even, and this just continues to rip out with that. So if it would have got me out break even the 3rd time, I would have taken the loss of eating the 9K loss. I've been like, guys, not my week. We're down over 10 grand this week. We're going to size down next week. We're going to recover. We're going to recoup. We're going to back test. We're going to practice, and we're going to come back to when we get confidence, we'll start to size back up. But we got lucky. Again, obviously probability has no memory. Could have gotten stopped out, could have sold off, whatever it was. We're not married to our bias because off of the open, right, I was super looking for shorts. Market started to pump up and we closed above supply. Now, closing above supply for me meant, well, we just took out all the liquidity, right? We have to kind of go back up and push. We swept pre-market lows, took liquidity here, found buyers, broke above a key sell level, retested, and started moving back up. So for me, after seeing this close above this level, seeing this respect VWAP, we had to at least push into the supply, right, which is where my take profit levels were. So we got in again, targeted the up in the supply level, left some runners actually going all the way up. So let me hide the ones that were the losers. Let's hide this one, But so you can see the take profit. We took profits out multiple levels, hit the 40s, and we went all the way up to this high here, which is the top of my supply level. So really good trade there, over 30 points on that winner. We needed that to recover for the week, 40 grand for the month. Not going to complain. But again, guys, this week has been tough. So if you lost money, it's okay. It happens. It's super hard for you to actually stay alive in a week like this, because all you got to do is follow your rules, make sure your daily loss limits in place, make sure you have locks on your accounts, and make sure you are aware of what you are doing, and make sure you're not breaking your rules, because you're going to lose a lot, right? Some of my win rates are like 60%. It means 40% of the time I take a trade, right? 4 to 10 times I'm losing, bro. That could be back to back. Probability has no memory. Again, you need a large enough of a sample size for luck to be removed from the equation. It's like the flip the coin analogy, which I tell people this, and kind of opens their eyes, right? You can flip a coin 100 times, and you might get 80% heads. It's possible. the more and more you flip that coin, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, you're going to get closer and closer to 50%, right? And it's the same thing with trading. You need to have a large enough of a sample size, a large amount of trades for luck to be removed from the equation. You flip a coin 5,000 times, it's going to get closer to 50-50. With a 50% win rate, which is what it is when you flip in a coin, 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio means every time you risk $200, right, you're making $400, you're going to be profitable in the long run, in the span of a lot of trades, meaning you need a large enough of a sample size to completely remove luck from the equation. And again, this will happen. You will again in the future get stopped out, break even, and go straight to TP. You will again in the future get a tick away from TP and get stopped out in red or break even. That will happen. How you react off of that, what you do afterwards, is what's going to set you apart from a profitable trader and an unprofitable trader. Just remember that, because this should happen to me back to back. What did I do after losing like $10,000? Or let's see what we actually lost. We lost in 2 days, we lost like $15,000, and I wasted hours of my time. Wasted. I don't consider it wasting. What did I do? Nothing. The same thing I do every day. I didn't chase, didn't double my size, didn't revenge trade, and that's why I'm able to stay alive for this long. Now, guys, again, every single setup here was taken with almost a similar entry triggers. This was break retest of demand. Twice we took here, another break retest of demand, another break retest of demand. So break retest today have been the move because of the bears. Took our first long today because we had a massive structure shift. And the volume spike off the open from the buyers is what made me kind of switch my bias. I'm like, okay, Elder, market's super bearish, right? If we did not hit demand before this sell-off, I probably would have been a little bit more aggressive on shorts. But since we hit demand where we have liquidity, and then we had a crazy spike in volume. I've never seen volume like this, or I have, but not in a long, long time, right off the open. Massive surge. A isn't even over yet. Same thing as yesterday. And we recovered most of our sell-off already from the day before. I switched my bias. Remember, never to be married to your bias. React to what the market gives you. Don't try and predict. Now, let's go ahead and try and plan for the rest of the week, guys, or for the rest of the month, to say the least. So this is what we're currently seeing in the market, right? We have just seen a massive, major 4-hour level be breached, and we're going to go above the higher time frame EMA. So with that being said, my mind is now thinking about switching over to the bullish side. But, right, we did put in a new high here, right? We didn't really put in a new low from this 55 level. What I want to see is us hold above this level, and then next week, rest of the month, is have slow, weak sell-offs back into any demand level we made from this rip up for longs, right? You don't see any levels here in the 4-hour. The next major one is all the way up at these 880s. So going into the 30-minute time frame, let's look at what we can see, right? 4-hour level here was broken. I would wait for a retest into it. We have a couple more levels to really watch for here as well. Let me go ahead and get all of this included into here. Let's go ahead and cancel all of this. Get here. We have another 30-minute level here that we just hit now. So what we'd watch for is a retest back into here for a move up, right? And again, this is the A+ setup if we do go back to being bullish, right? And if we hold this level, right, shorts could come back into the picture, just because on the 4-hour, we have to put in a higher low. So we have to put in a higher low somehow, right? We don't have any new demand until down here or until we retest this broken supply. So break retest here. And again, on the way up, right, from that crazy sell-off we had, there's some really ugly, like massive supply levels. So right here, we have another supply level that I'd watch for, right? This is what I want to watch A+, the 4-hour shifts to being bullish, breaks of supply, bounces off demands we made, and we don't see anything, right, on the 4-hour. But if you go into the 15-minute, when I only use a 15-minute when we have massive moves up in the 30-minute time frame, but no levels in between. So right now in the 15-minute, we do start to see new demand levels. And I have videos on my YouTube channel about how we draw these levels. If you guys are interested, right? I have a level right here, and then we have a 15-minute level right here. So on that higher low, we talked about that we will have to put in, right, on the higher time frame, because we're not going to keep going up without making a higher low. Impossible. Will not happen. Holding the supply. Where will we make that higher low into, right? These 15-minute levels right here, right? And if we break this, small size shorts into here, because again, structure in the 4-hour is not bullish yet, but look at the volume and look at order flow, right? If we start to break these levels and volume starts to stack up, order flow starts to get aggressive sellers getting rewarded, shift your mindset. Don't be married to a bias, right? Or right here. But you can enter here for a move into this liquidity, because we close above this level, we have to grab more liquidity, which is going to be in the zone for a move up, right? So you can play both sides. Just watch volume and watch order flow to give you the best confirmation possible. So Appreciate you guys watching this video. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments. Let me know how you did this week. I know it's been super, super difficult. I'll put in the comments or put in the description the free course we have. I'll put in the description my free Discord you have. We can go ahead and hop in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.